Good morning again. Another Metcalfe kit. A little bit different this one. I thought it was going to be complicated. It is looks very simple. There are a few parts. We'll see how it goes on. I've changed the camera angle a bit. I found my hand was getting in the way of what I was doing. Get rid of that. And on this already I've run into problems. I haven't even started and there's a little bit of a problem. On this first sheet it says that you should cut a bit of spare card and glue it onto the corner of this in such a way that the thickness doubled will go into there and hold it firmly while it's gluing. Amusing. The problem is that I'm going to do that now, as you will see. Done that here, but unfortunately this thing floats around like nothing on earth. How the hell I'm going to make that stand up in there? It will just about stand up, but well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this, I cut this out of the back of the box and I'm going to stick it on the other side to make up the thickness, and that should go into the hole better, into the slot better. There we are with the two bits on, and it does actually go in the wrong way around, but it goes in there and it will stand up straight, and that's got to be, the back edge has got to be level, and there it stands up straight and fairly square. I presume that this hole here, which is for the corner piece, is going to be the same. In actual fact, looking at it, one can see that it's not exactly rectangular, it looks like curved a bit, I don't know. Anyway, I'll do the same thing there if necessary, and I'll get on with it. One is supposed to fold now the back piece around here, like that, and then slide in two of these into there, strengthening it. So let's do that then. Here you can see the framework starting to take shape. You notice I put two little blobs of glue there to hold this thing upright. It's incredibly difficult to stick these things up while you're trying to bend the sides round, so that's the way of it. Next step is supposed to be putting these strengtheners in here. Now the problem with that is this top edge is supposed to be flush with, because the roof sits on it, but it's too low in actual fact, and I found it's about, if I cut this piece of cardboard out of the box, and it's about that much. So there. Now obviously I don't take this out because it won't strengthen anything if there's nothing in there. So I was a bit nonplussed for a minute, and I thought, well, the inside of this thing is actually going to show. Take it out without moving it too much. Take that out. The inside of this thing is going to show because these two bits obviously go on the front. They go on there, and there are some rather nice cut pieces there that go in windows and this, that and the other, and the doors will be open because I've got a horse to go in there. I've got two horses to go in actually, so I'm going to want to see the inside with the doors open a bit. So what I've done to get the thickness, I have found that a piece of old sandpaper, which looks nice and dirty and grubby, fits inside there. It has to be just a little bit away from the edge here because the front edge sits inside like that. But that might look quite good, I think. And of course I paint the sides up a bit, or maybe get some kind of wood paper or something like that, wooden panels on a piece of paper from somewhere, and stick them in there to make it look a bit better. So I'm going to do that because that will give me the thickness to raise these side parts up so that they're flush with the roof plate. So I'll do that right now. There then the old sandpaper, which is nice and dirty, looks like a used floor. I'll put some sort of sawdust or something in there at the end as well, make it look like straw. Obviously these support pieces here might show, so I'll do something about that. Maybe make a sort of manger thing on the side, because the roofs go on absolutely last on this kit. You build all of the parts, put them together, and then put the roofs on at the last minute. So I'll be able to do the insides and the horse and everything before I close this up. Next job, stick this onto the back of that, which is going to make just the door frames, that's all. For the front end, right. However, if I don't push the windows out, I won't be able to get them in. There we go, push the windows out. You never know what to do with these. They would look so nice and square or rectangular when they go out. Never think of anything to do with them. You get hundreds of them. I've kept some of them because in brick or something like that they may be useful in the end, but who knows. Anyway, let's glue this up very quickly. While you've got the front wall pinned up, you can stick the windows in. These are pretty fragile. There's two there. This one's for the other piece. If you push them out with gusto, they'll probably bend. And if you can't see the places, they are not cut through on two of the corners, these ones, but if you can't see them where they are, to cut them with the point of your scalpel or whatever, if you look up to the light, as I said before, look up to the light, you can actually see through and you'll see where they're holding in. Bending them like this, you can do it, but you have to be so careful. Okay, so let me gluing in. That's of course where one of these things comes in useful, because getting the glue in here is quite difficult without making a mess. So there you can see the first unit with the front stuck on in the right place, and the horse who has come along to have a look at it. Actually, let's just see if I can get it through the door. It does just look over one of the half doors. As you can see, you can cut the doors in half here to have half open, half not. They're actually scored in the middle, so you can bend them to break them off, or so more easily to cut them off. Next part is the corner piece. This piece has got to go around here, and this piece is going to go inside it. Another piece with this slot, and as you can see the slot, if I actually put it in the slot, it's huge. Obviously you've got to put this on first to get that in the right place, and it'll involve sticking bits of card on to get the right thickness, I suppose. So I'll get done with that. So here we are with the spacers on. As you can see, it's needed a little thin piece of card as well as a thicker one on this side. So now get that stuck in there. I'm going to use a brush this time, mucking about with that little bottle. This next bit looks quite complicated, and the pieces are very fragile. So I have to read through the whole page of instructions. Apparently all these bits have to be folded, they're all marked. There are little lines in the middle, you can see that. For example, this one has a little line in the middle, which must be, yes it is, somewhere to fold it. So apparently you have to glue these together, which should make something usable. Just realised this could be quite disjointed, because when I come back to the making of the thing after sometimes hours, I've forgotten where I was. I forgot what I've said. But, well, I'll do it anyway. It might be terrible, I know. We'll see when I try and splice it all together. Anyway, got all those out. And these are all the pieces. Hopefully all stuck together. They've been sitting here for a while. You need an awful lot of these bulldog slips, obviously. Alright, well, I've made them all up. And I've got one vertical left with no triangular support thing. In the book it says 4 end, 2 centre and 5 roof. 5 roof, 4 ends, 2 centre. Why have I got an extra end? And which ends do I have to do? And obviously if you're going to do 2 separate buildings like this, or actually that looks quite good, an alleyway in between them, that would avoid the rather nasty sort of join there. Yeah, before I stick those together I'm going to have a look at that, see if that looks better. Anyway, that's got to dry, so yet again we wait. Yes, I know, if you go away and play World of Tanks while the glue's drying, you have to go and the glue dries out at the end of the brush and you have to spend 10 minutes trying to get it out. Silly me. I lost anyway. Terrible game. Well, never mind. What I like to do, I'll do this, just dab that on there. Probably forget the brush again in a minute. What I'm going to do is put these onto a bit of card to hold in place, because I'm not doing the one in the picture. I'm doing 2 buildings set apart. Probably see my head in this. It's not a pretty sight, I promise you, from any angle, but never mind, that's the way it goes. Here's one. I just want to stick this down. Get the spacing right. Put brush down so I don't forget it again. I have it. A little bit of a lip there to put sort of grass and stuff on it. So here we are. This is how I'll start again. And this is where we are now. I had terrible problems with the so-called laser cut parts of this. They're very fiddly. If they'd been done in wood, like the new signal boxes are from Metcalfe, that would be much better. These sort of paper cardboard things folded in half were difficult to do. They're very difficult to get in, especially the one in the corner. To get those angles and stick the things to the walls with that composite angle, it was really difficult, especially with human-sized hands. If you've got very small hands, you'd be able to do it a lot easier. Anyway, I've started to do a little bit of the baseboard thing. I'm going to blend this in to the scenery afterwards, but I've always found that getting up next to the buildings when you've got awnings like this or doors that are opening, or animals in it. You just can't do it. It's much easier to do it like this and then blend the edges of this in with the rest of the scene. It's just that much easier. So now I'm going to put the roof on, or the roofs on, and we'll see what it looks like. And then here with the roofs on. Couple of problems with the roofs. The one on the right, which would seem to be the most difficult one to get on, is actually a lot easier than the one on the left. I'm trying to hold the camera in my hands here, it might jump up and down a bit. But if you look, for example, at this end, it's difficult to hold this steady. The front corner there sticks out a bit. You see the cardboard. I'm going to try and get that in, push that in. And it's the same on the other corner, on the back there. The roof is exactly the right length for the building, which means that if you're slightly out, you can just see there's a difference of thickness. That's the best I do. It all gets out of kilter, of course, in the end, and you can't quite get it on there. I suppose if you're more patient than I am and more able with these buildings, fair enough. But it's not so bad. Obviously not finished. I've got the corners to do and some weathering and some plants and things. But that's, you get the basic idea of the thing. You can either doesn't look anything like that really, does it? But it'd be interested to know how you'd actually get the join to look like that. I did put them together and you can see the join quite clearly. The join vertically is rather more difficult as well, between the two buildings. You end up with a cardboard line, which I suppose you'd have to doctor. You put a drain pipe in there or something, I suppose. But anyway, that's as far as I've got now, and that's got to go onto the layout when it's more detailed and blended in. So I'll leave you with that, and the class 3, I think it is in the background. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and if it's shown you anything and helped you out with these kits, they are quite good. I've got a lot of them now. Anyway, goodbye for now, and thank you for watching.